Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve Podcast. Today, my guest hails all the way from Germany. He's a German man, his name is Stealzy, and he's a Twitch streamer, a YouTuber, all-round very interesting guy, very easy to talk to. And, based on the little mini kind of conversation we had in one of your live streams the other day, I'd say a kind of pretty well-rounded, well-educated man. If I don't do so myself.
Thanks a lot. That's a great introduction. Man, I feel flustered already.
That's the idea. I mean, this is all about you. Like I said, this is always what I like to do with these interview podcasts. To kind of try and showcase my guest as much as possible. And kind of, get across the person as well. Because, this is as much to benefit... people that maybe don't know you and want to know more about you, and also your own audience as well. Like, you don't always necessarily share all your insights and the way you think and feel about different things when you're streaming and doing YouTube, because you pick and choose what you want to share. And
so this is going down to the nitty gritty, you say?
Well, no. I mean, to be honest with you, it varies from guest to guest. I obviously largely go on what I can find online. I couldn't find that much on you, so
I'm very interested in what you find on me, because I don't think I have that big of a personality on the internet other than my stream and maybe some YouTube videos. Maybe you found my old YouTube channel. I don't know. Let's
I didn't even know you had an old one.
I had an old one, but that one was German. Long ago. Only a few viewers of mine know that, but they seem to make a meme out of it.
Okay, let's.
I was 14.
Let's start there. So you started with a German YouTube channel.
Yes, and I was 13 at the time, I think.
Okay, and presumably, you say German. Yeah, so it's obviously you speaking in German. How long did you kind of do that before you were like, I want to start doing this in English now and appealing to an international audience? Like, what was the decision-making process there?
It's a good question. I don't really know what the decision-making process was. I just know, because I dug into my past a little bit again on stream last time, and I think I did it for like a year.
Oh, wow.
And I never missed a single week. I did an upload every week.
Okay.
And I played mostly Minecraft, but I also played like Gothic 1, I think, and some Flash games, like what was good back in the day, what PewDiePie played. Like, how was the game called where you would drive on the browser game, like with your bike and through these levels that got made?
No, I'm thinking of something else.
Let me hang on. This doesn't take long.
Is that the one where you have to create the tracks? It's like Line Rider or something.
Something like that, but yes, exactly. Let me just see. This was
early 2000s, like mid.
Happy Wheels. It's called Happy Wheels. PewDiePie played it, so I played it too. But I only did one. I only did one episode. But the thing is, after that, I just now looked it up again. After that episode, I never did anything again.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, actually, when you're first starting out. I had the same problem years ago of like, getting really gassed and excited about a particular series, and then you only do 1 or 2 episodes and you're like, I can't be bothered now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's just an age thing, Then again, I don't know. I mean, I still kind of get that issue now, but the difference is I kind of keep pushing it, and I try to look at different ways to do it. But like okay, for instance, with me, I've had a couple of Twitch streams lately where I've been kind of testing the waters and seeing different styles of things I could use, and some of them I'm a bit sour on. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep pushing this. I mean, because my idea was like, whatever the fans say, that's what I'll do. But, they're not there.
No, that doesn't work. Not on Twitch. Don't do that. A lot of people tried to do that, and they fell into such a hole. Dude, history of Twitch. I love that. I'm like a Twitch historian when it comes to
wow.
that.
Okay.
I always were, because in my life, I only liked a couple of things, honestly. Like YouTube and Twitch and streaming and gaming, and then cars, and something else.
What kind of cars?
Well, mostly sports cars, obviously. Which is like the easiest to like. I've been recently getting a little bit more into old timers.
Okay.
like antique cars, Porsches and stuff like that, but only a little bit. Like my métier is basically around Lamborghinis, supercars of this day and age, and a little bit. I've recently gotten more into also the affordable cars, like the Mercedes AMG A-Class or something like that. I don't know how much you know about cars.
Very little.
But yeah, exactly. That's most of the time. That's the problem. If you're a car guy, you only have so many people that you can really talk about cars with, right?
See, I know what you mean.
For most people, cars are just a bunch of metal.
No. I get the appeal. I might not be. I mean, I'm not a car owner, so I think that's kind of why I'm not fully invested in it. But I get why people like them. I have like interests in my life that not everyone gets. Like I'm really into professional wrestling, and if you're not a wrestling fan, then it's like it looks like the most bizarre, terrible thing ever. But if you know, like I use all these like insider terms. I'm somewhat of a historian as well because I've been watching it for so many years, so I know it in and out pretty much, as most proper wrestling fans do as well.
Like wrestling, like the show wrestling or the actual wrestling. Like WWE or like more of this sport wrestling?
Well, everything really. I mean, WWE is just one promotion. It's just one style of wrestling. And to be honest, a lot of people think that, it's just WWE and then that's it, right? But like there are so many different regions. You've got like Japanese wrestling, Mexican lucha libre wrestling, English strong style catch wrestling. You've got so many different. Germany has a big wrestling scene. So there really is kind of. It really depends, and some countries go for a more kind of physical style, closer to amateur wrestling. Others go for a more glitzy. The American style is very glitz and like. But to be honest, the style. Yeah, but the style has changed. If you watch wrestling, say 20 years ago, it changes every decade. But even 20 years ago, what people remember is like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and those big characters do still exist. But the in-ring product now is very, very sporty. It's all flips and fast-paced action and stuff. So it's changed a lot. But just going back to the original point, like. If you're not a fan of it, then it's like, the conversation's very limited that you can have with someone. And I know it's the same with things like cars, because like cars gets very specific and there's all these different, like, again, insider terms and stuff. And you could probably have like 3-hour conversations about such things.
Longer, dude. I could talk days. I could talk cars days, honestly. If I would have like a girlfriend that was also into cars, we would probably never stop talking about cars.
I have a friend. He's Polish. His name's Pascal. He's a very good friend of mine, and he's really into like motorbikes and cars. You probably get on with him actually.
Probably, yeah.
And I remember one time telling me like he'd met a girl that was really into biking, and like he just described it as this big long romance, and I was like, I get it.
Yeah, I totally get it. I have yet to find the girl that really has the hobbies that I do, because the hobbies that I do are very masculine, if you can even say that these days. But like because I mean, cars or gaming, gaming just now gets to girls as well. Yeah. But again, cars, most fans of cars are men. Most fans of gaming are men. Yeah. So yeah, again, I just probably have to wait like 5 years more until the genders are indistinguishable.
I mean, you make a good point though. Things do change over time. I remember a time when gaming was just so heavily male populated. Like the having a girl gamer was just like a joke thing that you would hear in like Halo lobbies. You'd be like, "What? There's a girl playing?" Like it just wasn't really a thing.
Exactly, and I think it still is kind of that way. It just has gone a little. Well, the girl streamers that you see are not. Like, I mean, there's a big distinguishing. You have to distinguish between streamers and gamers as a whole, right? Because a lot of girls go into the streamer business when they're gamers already, but a lot of dudes don't stream when they game.
Right.
But these days you can already call mobile gamers as well.
Can you? Can you really?
Yeah. A lot of statistics say, 90% of people on planet Earth are gamers.
Damn.
Yeah. If you call mobile games gaming,
I really don't.
Okay, but I wouldn't either. Never. That's so casual. It's not gaming.
I mean, it's like I saw an advert for Call of Duty Mobile, right? And don't get me wrong, it's very impressive for the mobile, but it's essentially just, Call of Duty circa, I don't know, 2002 Call of Duty 2 kind of graphics, right?
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Right, and I understand that, but the thing is, it's like... It's one thing if you just have the game on your phone and you're trying to kill time until, you do your next thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But actually playing online with that, I don't know, it would bug me because, you know that the console or PC product is so massively advanced in comparison in terms of graphics, speed, all of this stuff. It just feels like...
Inputs, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay...
There are some games though. There are some games
yes.
Fortnite on the phone, or I don't know if you heard of the MOBAs on the phone. They are big in Korea, for example.
Yeah.
Vainglory and Mobile Legends, these League of Legends clones, basically that are on the phone.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say, being devil's advocate, there are these mobile pretty much only games. For instance, I recently saw that Raid Shadow Legends is actually going to be released on PC now. It's become so popular on mobile. I thought that was just a joke. I was like,
marketing, dude. It's marketing. Everyone knows Raid Shadow Legends. They were everywhere.
Right,
it was almost a meme.
But right, it's gone from them being plastered everywhere to okay, I work in marketing as a profession, right? And I know for a fact if you're releasing a new product in a different market, then that is 100% backed up by sales figures. As in, I know that's a basic thing to say, but they wouldn't do that unless they were actually making a killing with the mobile game.
Oh, I thought this would this would go the other way.
What do you mean?
You would first market it to death and then get the sales.
No, they would have made money from advertising and in-game purchases and stuff. But what I'm saying is that they would need to kind of get to a point where it's justifiable to then make the PC version. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, you're talking about the PC. Yeah, of course.
Moving into that market. Version,
damn, I would have never thought that was actually possible. I don't really know Raid Shadow Legends that well.
Yeah, neither do I, but when I saw that...
Each game...
So say
I'm not sure, though. I'm really not sure. I think you have your 4 heroes that are fighting against monsters or something, but... Dude, don't ask me. I never watched into the game. I have a natural thing where when I get blasted by ads from something, I don't look at it.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I would never look at it.
I think most people are. You know what I mean? If you see something enough, it just annoys you and you're like, go away.
Yes, but other than that, advertisement works pretty well. I think there are some people that have that, but on the other side, advertisement just works, right?
I mean, I guess on certain people, for me and you, obviously, we switch off. We're we see too many ads, we're like, ugh. But I guess there is this big market of people that they see it and they're like, yeah, okay, I'll get that. I'm not trying to be mean, but do you know what I mean? I guess there is a large proportion of people that are susceptible to it and they see that and they're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go for this.
Yeah, so I can't even say for myself that I'm totally resistant to that.
Right, me neither.
Sometimes, 1 in 40 ads, I'm telling myself, oh, that actually looks cool. That actually looks like something I would get. But I mean, yeah, that's such few ads.
Two things go off in my mind, right? The first thing is, have I seen this before or not, or something like it? And the second thing is, is this a con radar or not? I'm like, is this a con? I'm looking for everything that proves that it's not a con.
But that's only today. Everyone can do advertisement, and there's so many people that say, hey, do you want to get rich? I've got the plan for you to get rich.
Dude.
Something like that hasn't been there back in the day, because actually advertisements got curated back in the day. I guess.
Do you know what, man?
And they were very expensive.
Speaking of this, right? I get a lot of over the years. I've had a lot of people pitch me pyramid schemes. Yeah. And I even made a comedy skit about this because I was just so sick and tired of it. I was just like, this is ridiculous. In the year 2020, we still have people pitching pyramid schemes, and
is that so crazy in the UK?
Oh, it's still a thing, but the difference now is that anytime you have something similar, like these days they call it, what do they call it? There's a
snowball.
No. There's
like a French name. There's also a
referral program.
Oh yeah,
right.
Referral, or in Germany there's like another name for it, but I wouldn't get it.
Okay, the problem with these referral programs as well is that some of them are legit. I'll give them that. Like some of them, there's no con. Like if it's like a, I don't know, PayPal.
I mean Tupperware. Do you know Tupperware?
No.
Tupperware is like the best thing. I don't know if Tupperware is only in Germany, but it's basically like plastic boxes for food.
Oh, I know what Tupperware is.
yeah, exactly. And Tupperware did the exact same thing in the early 2000s. I remember my mother going to Tupper parties where like a bunch of mothers would just get together and sell each other Tupperware.
I've never heard of this.
And one mother was condoned, and she was hosting the party and would just sell all the others Tupperware, and at the same time would say, hey, do you want to sell Tupperware as well? And then would get a cut of the other mother selling Tupperware. So it was basically like a pyramid scheme as well, but
from Tupperware. What, of all things?
yes. It was like a big thing. I think they still do it, but not as much.
Jeez,
now, obviously we have internet.
I'm blown away by that. Like, I mean, generally speaking, when it's these days, if it's some sort of pyramid scheme, it's like to do with like trading or investing in like some cryptocurrency or some shit, or I don't know, like something like that. Where, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, we had it with let me see the translate. God damn it! Sometimes I still have that.
Are you using Google Translate?
Yes, I am.
How reliable is it for German?
Insurance. It very, like 100%. Like insurance companies use that still in Germany, like a lot. They would go out and just get so many people in there that sell their insurance, and everyone who's like lower in the chain gets less.
Yeah,
like they do that a lot here. But that was it. Like you please go on.
No, I mean, there's not much else to say. I just, whenever I hear someone pitching an idea to me, like most often, if it's not a pyramid scheme, they'll say, "Now, this isn't a pyramid scheme." That's the first thing that they say. But like, I remember there was a guy recently that was pitching me.
My sirens would ring instantly.
Say again?
My sirens would ring instantly, or however you say that in English. Like red lights flashing everywhere. Like this is the pyramid scheme. You sure about that? Are you really sure about that?
I remember when I was I'd finished school. I think or sixth form, and I was about a year into full-time work, or I was looking for work, something like that. And someone from school that I kind of knew, maybe I'd spoken to once or twice, but didn't know her very well. She was like, "Hey, Christian, hey, so I have this opportunity for you, blah, blah, blah." And like, obviously at the time I was like, oh my God, this might be really awesome. And so I went, I took her up on her offer. I went to like some fucking place in the back arse of it was really weird because it was like in a residential area.
Oh,
so
okay.
That straight away freaked me out. It's like terraced housing, and then I mean sometimes you get like terraced houses that have like a doctor's office in it or something. So it's not like the most unusual thing in the world, but
it's mostly veterinarians or doctors. Or
but it was really weird, and I was young. I was like 18, 19. I was just a bit like, what the fuck is going on? And I didn't want to waste my time as well, because you go to London, it costs loads of money, it takes ages to travel, and you're dressed up in a suit and everything, and it's a lot of hassle. So I go there, and it's in like a house, and I'm immediately like, okay. And then she greets me, and I'm like a little bit more relieved. I'm like, okay. And she leads me up to this room, and there's like 4 or 5 tables spread out, kind of like the desks you get at like school when you put them together for a class or something. Yeah. And on each desk, there's like one guy or woman, like, you know, at the other end, kind of like, you know, dressed in a suit, talking.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of chairs for people sitting.
On every table, there's someone sitting getting recruited.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And like the guy that was set to recruit me was just the most egotistical, smarmy git you've ever seen in your life. Like, just.
Yeah, but those find a home there. Those people.
Yeah, but like
they really do.
They're so full of shit, and I don't know how they sleep at night. Like, I'm sorry to be all brutal about this, but like, this guy was genuinely saying. He genuinely said to me at one point, he was like, you know, if you don't take this opportunity, then I just know that you're a failure in life and that, you know, you don't want to be successful. They do that. They do stuff where they twist it. Yeah,
I heard that as well already.
Yeah, when I refused it, they were like, "Oh, I guess you don't want to be successful. You're just wasting my time." And I was like, "Fuck you, man! Like, who's to say that you're actually a successful guy? And who's to say you're not just some guy who's stuck a suit on and is trying to con everyone?" I know a charlatan when I see one.
It works though. It really works though, because they don't just do that because they're assholes. They do that to lure in weak people.
Yeah,
essentially. Like if they say stuff like that to find out if you're weak, and only weak people will stay there for like a long time. So I think that's like a filter they do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, I was lucky that I had enough conviction to tell them to F off politely.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I feel bad for people that genuinely get caught up in that. But anyway, briefly, just before we sort of move back to you, because I know we went off on a tangent there, which is great, but ultimately this is about you. As a German man, do you like German cars?
Oh, long time I didn't. Long time I didn't even bat an eye, because the first thing that actually got me into cars, was like Fast and the Furious. Who would have guessed?
Hey.
I saw the films when I was like 12 or 13, I guess. Don't have the best memories of that. Or I don't have memories of that, actually.
Memorable, then.
Yeah. I forget a lot. I'm a very forgettable guy.
Okay.
I need to talk about specific things to remember all of that. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah. Not good memories. I do have good memories about my childhood.
It's always like triggers, isn't it? You know, no one remembers all these specific details, but if you talk long enough with someone, things just crop up again. Yeah.
Yes. I watched Fast and the Furious, and obviously in Fast and the Furious, it's almost all cars are American or Japanese.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So for like the longest time, I wouldn't bat an eye at German manufacturers. But since I drove a lot of VWs since I got 18 and got my driver's license, I came to appreciate German cars a lot. Like especially the comfortableness and the reliability of the cars are insane. They are, and that's where I can bring in my friend. Like, we always said, German cars are a subtle flex. Like, they're not a flex right out there. If you're driving in with a Mercedes, no one is going to be like, if you're driving in like in a Lamborghini. No one's going to say like, "Oh my God, this is a Mercedes. Holy shit, I've never seen that." No. Everyone has seen a Mercedes. But if you sit in a Mercedes, everyone's like, "Okay, yeah, that dude is rich." It's a subtle flex. Like, the cars look very subtle, but you know that a rich person is sitting in them. That's probably why I never was freaked out about German cars. But I come to understand it more and more, what German cars are about.
I gotta say,
they're not about flexing.
I agree. And on the kind of, I don't know, unless you're kind of like a growing salesman and it's like your first kind of car to, say like, I got Beamer, I'm, making some money. It's not like rich, but it's like he's got some money.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously there are the cars, like the cars, like SLS or GTR Mercedes, or like an M5 or now an M8, which is an amazing car, and an R8, for example, or an RS6. Some of these cars, and they still don't look flamboyant. They pack a punch.
Yeah. I got to say, just closing it on the car thing, like, I don't really ever hear people say, like, German cars are bad quality, or,
Never,
they're bad cars. You know what I mean? Like, and
Americans sometimes do that, though. I heard Americans talk about that, but that is only because, but that's because Americans are not used to having their cars checked every year or 2 years. They don't check their cars at all, and German cars need checking. Like, they are very reliable if you treat them right.
Yeah.
Right? If you drive around in them and don't check them for 5 to 6 years, obviously there's going to be some catastrophic failure.
Yeah, like, I can't believe that. I mean, I would have thought, because I know in the UK you have to have, like, MOTs, like every...
And we have to have TÜV.
Two, like you say?
TÜV, yeah, it's basically the same. Like,
okay.
Every 2 years, someone looks at your car and looks at if it is safe.
Right.
And since we have the Autobahn and we can drive without speed limits, it is a very hard test to get through. Like, you have to have a clean car to get through that.
Absolutely,
like, nothing can be wrong.
Okay, all right.
Very safe, and that is why the streets in Germany are very safe to drive and very relaxing and nice to drive. And because there's a lot of money in them.
Yeah,
we don't have potholes or anything like that, and we can't really have potholes, especially not in the Autobahn. Just imagine driving 300 kilometers an hour, like 180 miles an hour, and going through a pothole.
That would be
dead.
James Bond style crash right there.
Yes. Yes. No recovery.
Jesus. Okay. Let's move on. Now, this is going to be a bit of an obvious question. I mean, I've jotted down some questions that I want to ask you, different things, different topics and stuff. But, like, for this, based on what you've said so far, I think I already know the answer. But, you never know. Do you prefer creating YouTube content or streaming on Twitch?
Definitely streaming on Twitch, 100%.
Okay.
Like, I don't enjoy editing videos. I don't really have a feel for that. Twitch is just... I think Twitch is more for lazy people than YouTube is.
Hey, yeah.
I really do think, because you only have to hit start streaming. But I also think that there's that's where a lot of people go wrong. Like, you can't just hope on like starting the stream and hoping that people come to you. You have to make your streaming schedules and know when you want to do what, and have good bits that you can do, and recurring sketches and stuff like that, where you just have, like, Ludwig is a great example. You probably don't know him. He's a big streamer that grew astonishingly in the last year. He always has some skits that he's doing. Either he looks at Reddit, or he looks at TikTok videos, or he plays games with his stream, not necessarily PC games, but like something like Deal or No Deal, or stuff like that.
Cool.
Like, you have to be very creative to stand out, and it's so much harder to stand out on Twitch. And that is why a lot of Twitch streamers use YouTube as well. And I think it is a mandatory thing to use YouTube, which is why I uploaded a new video just yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple of questions related to this. I mean, one of my guests that I had the other day actually chooses to stream on YouTube rather than Twitch, and he actually does really well. He gets like a couple of hundred viewers per stream. Now, you could argue that that's just because of the games that he's playing and the fact that he's built it up over time. But it kind of does make the case that, you do have this decision between, streaming on YouTube versus streaming on Twitch. So, like, what's the kind of underlying reason behind why you chose that? Because you've been on YouTube for a long time, your English channel was opened up on, like, sort of beginning of 2014. And you said that you were on the German channel for at least a year, so I guess that's a year before that, so like 2013.
Yeah.
So when did you start up streaming? Actually, that's a good question.
It's a pretty interesting story, because yes, I was a YouTuber, so to speak. I was always watching YouTube from the beginning of that I can think about. Yeah. Like, since YouTube was around, I was watching YouTube, basically. I know all the videos. The thing is, I opened my Twitch channel on 2014 as well, I think. I opened a lot of channels in 2014. The big thing is YouTube didn't allow live streaming back in the day. Like, Twitch was the only platform that you could live stream from. And I only got into Twitch on 2014. I think the site was made on 2008 or something.
Really?
I might have my facts wrong. Yeah, the Twitch is almost as old as YouTube itself.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Very interesting. Yes, it started as Justin.tv. If you're interested, it started back in the day in Justin.tv, and a guy named Justin wanted to show people or be around people when he was gaming.
Yeah.
And that was why he made the live streaming platform Twitch or Justin.tv. And back in the day, Justin.tv was more like Twitch is these days. You could do everything you wanted on Justin.tv, like live streaming games or just chilling or eating or whatever you basically wanted. And then at some point, the gaming section just took off. So they made Twitch, which was only gaming, and you couldn't do anything else because it wasn't allowed. You needed to have gaming content, and obviously now they went back to you can do whatever you want with just chatting or creative or all the other categories they have. Let's get back to the actual question. So why I streamed on Twitch was just because I really liked the appeal on Twitch, like being live, being with people, and it was something new that I never seen before. Having people stream something they did while talking to you at the same time. And I don't know if you had that, but I had that back in the day. The first stream I ever got into was Minecraft, and it was Giant Waffle. He's still kind of a big streamer today, but not as big as he was back in the day.
Okay.
And since I played Minecraft, since all my old YouTube videos were Minecraft as well, I got into the stream, and he had a couple of thousand viewers, which was big at the time. Like,
yeah.
2,000 or 3,000 viewers. And I wrote something in chat, and he answered. And I think that was the craziest high I've ever had, and I ever since stuck to Twitch, and started streaming myself as well, because I always was an entertainer and a content producer. It was a little bit too much work for me. So yeah, I just did the start streaming and see where you go thing.
Okay.
I guess.
Before I kind of quiz you a little bit more on Twitch, I'm going to ask you just a little bit more about YouTube.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I already know the answer, but, maybe not. What are your
viewers don't?
Well, no, I'm just thinking, whenever I ask these questions, I want to kind of look at, what the obvious answers, but I also want to kind of see if there's anything else, because we think differently, so you never know.
Of course.
What are your goals with YouTube? What are you trying to do there? Is it just kind of a bank for your Twitch clips and, just another way of kind of driving traffic to your Twitch stream? Or is that, do you have like a plan for YouTube moving forward? Like, tell us if there's any plans there, or what your mindset is with, or strategy is with that.
Yeah. Obviously, like most Twitch streamers, I am not a YouTuber. Like most Twitch streamers are not a YouTuber. Let's say it like that. They are streamers, and there's a big distinction between live streamers and YouTubers. Like a really big one. YouTubers have to like video editing, for example, as well. And they have to have more energy over a certain period of time.
That's a good point, actually.
Have to have a certain amount of energy over a long period of time. Like that's always the distinction that I make. If you look at Logan Paul, he is very energetic for 10 minutes. While as a Twitch streamer, you have to be entertaining for 8 hours, or like at least 2 hours or something. Right? So Logan Paul just hypes himself up and then goes, "Hey, what up, guys? And then after 10 minutes, he's probably done and isn't energetic anymore. While as a Twitch streamer, you have to not shoot your load as fast as YouTubers do. So yeah, be a little bit more consistent with your energy, which at the start of me doing Twitch was a very big problem for me, because honestly, I do have ADHD, so energy conservation is a really hard thing for me anyways. Which is also why I resorted to only doing streams that are 2 to 3 hours now, because I draw a lot of energy from people as well.
Okay.
So if no one is in the stream, which happens some days after like a certain amount of time, 4 hours or something, and I understand that because I don't think it is necessarily possible to watch someone for 8 hours and not get bored.
But I mean, if you know that, why don't you just do shorter streams, like just 1 hour every time or something like that? Like, why choose to do those longer streams?
It was basically coming from a misconception that I always had back in the day. Okay. That more streaming would mean more ways for people to get into the stream.
Okay.
And the problem is, if you have, it is always quality over quantity, in my opinion. Yeah. And the quality really suffers from quantity at some points. So yeah, it was basically a misconception of mine to stream 8 hours with no people for the hopes of people finding me better because I'm live a third of the day. But no one finds you on Twitch if you don't have viewers. That's like the biggest thing.
Oh yeah.
But I really shifted my perception into having better content for less time, because people can't watch you that long anyways. And my end goal with Twitch, now we're at the end goal of Twitch. You asked about the end goal of YouTube. Whatever. My end goal with Twitch is basically doing more time as more people are there.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not alone, because who wants to be alone on this goddamn site, dude? We are streaming for people, so people are here, and even for ourselves, so we can talk to people. So it's like a no-brainer to have people in your stream.
So what are your more immediate future goals with regards to Twitch? Do you have any particular ones for 2020, for example?
I stopped setting myself goals, at least for now, because most of the time it is very hard to work towards goals on Twitch, because it is so unreliable, and people don't really have a way to find you, right? If there would be some algorithm or something, obviously my goals would be, figure out the algorithm and get as many viewers as I can. And getting viewers, obviously is still the goal. And I really you could say my goals are increase the quality of my stream, which I already did by getting a softbox this year, for example, and building more rapport to my viewers, if you can say it like that. Like building a community was always my goal. I have no immediate goals for Twitch, because I stopped setting myself goals for Twitch, because most of the time you just get depressed when you can't hit the goals, and hitting the goals on Twitch is so hard because it is so out of your hands.
That's very true.
Right? Because most of the time it is random. So I shifted my goals to YouTube. I do have goals for YouTube to make maybe a video a week, or maybe a video every 2 days. Have more quality on that. I just got a cutting software, an editing software. I always used Adobe, but that drained my purse so quickly I couldn't even count, because it's 60 euros a month, I think, for Adobe. So and since I only made videos like twice a month or even less, that was really not a good investment for me. So I just now got a software called, I don't know, DaVinci Resolution or something, which is free of charge.
Oh, nice.
So that it feels just way better, right? You feel so bad if you pay 60 euros for something each month and you don't use it.
Yeah, of course.
It's so bad. So I just got something free, and I'm gonna get into it and make some videos. I already have some uncut footage in my folders, and I'm gonna cut that and upload that to YouTube, which is my goal. My end goal for YouTube is to drive people to my Twitch channel. I really think somebody like Frost does it real good. He's a YouTuber for Rust, a Rust YouTuber, if you know the game. It's like that survival game, and he does scripted content, insane scripted content, but he puts copyrighted music over it, which honestly makes the monetization of the videos impossible, But at the end of every video, he links his Twitch channel and really steers the people towards his Twitch channel, where he then makes the money.
Oh, that is an interesting approach.
It is so cool because his YouTube videos don't make him any money, I guess, or some of them don't, but they are really good from the quality, and then he makes the money somewhere else.
That's a really risky strategy as well, because, like, okay, for example, I've noticed that certain songs, when I use them, I don't use them anymore, but, like, for example, if you follow me on Twitch, like, if you actually click the follow button, there's a little bit of music that's released by George Michael. And
the saxophone?
Yeah. And every single time that plays, it only plays for like 15 seconds, if that. But when I upload the stream to YouTube, it gets claimed straight away every time. Okay. But interestingly as well, it gets blocked in like the whole of South America, meaning that like the video is not, you can't watch it in that area. So like with this guy that you're talking about, he's running a real risk every time he does that, you know, in terms of like the video is actually being blocked so that people can't see them.
But without wanting to be racist or anything, I mean, how many people in South America are there that you really want to get to? I feel like the main regions you want to get to is North America, Europe, and maybe Australia. And now Asia as well, but most Asian countries don't speak English. Or they mainly don't speak English.
I just meant more in terms of like just the video being blocked in general. That was just an example. You know, every time he's doing that, he's running the risk of it just being blocked so that people just can't see it. And then do you know what I mean? Because you can't control where it's blocked or how often it's blocked. You can't control how many claims are made. You know, like one time I did a stream where I included classical music. And I was thinking like, oh, you know, there's no copyright, surely. But
there shouldn't be, actually.
Yeah, like, but I think it was
copyright runs out at some point.
Right, but I think it was because it's like new artist renditions of it or something.
That might be, yeah.
Maybe, but it's ridiculous. But anyway,
it is. All of that is ridiculous. The whole system is ridiculous right now.
And when that happened,
but we can talk about that a little later.
Yeah, when that happened, it was like I must have had at least 20 different copyright claims on that. So I learned my lesson to just never play music unless it's the copyright free, like lo-fi stuff or whatever.
Yeah, of course. What you can always try out, in my opinion, is just upload the song on your channel, but unlist it, and then see if it gets claimed, and then use it. Because the claims are very fast.
Yeah, you don't even publish a video and it's already there.
Exactly,
because it's just computer now, isn't it?
You can just try to do that. There is a great video of Emperor Lemon. He's a great YouTube channel that like deconstructs many things and has a hot take on most things. He talked about the copyright system of YouTube in 2 separate videos that were both like half an hour long, I think. And he talked about everything from copyright smuggling to distorting everything, because back in the day, YouTube was such a cesspool of copyrighted material. most movies, there were so many movies on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember when I was 15, I watched Final Destination 3 on YouTube, which is an 18+ film. But most films were just turned around, like they were just mirrored. And at that point, no copyright system could see them. And then at some point, I don't know which that was, some big company went to YouTube and said, if you don't sort this out, we're going to have the biggest lawsuit ever. And then YouTube was like, okay, I guess I got to do something.
I remember those days. That genuinely has unlocked a memory. Like I think
Family
it was
Guy, Simpsons, films.
Yeah.
People would upload everything and monetize it as well.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yes, and that was the big thing why UMG and Warner Bros. and everyone was so insanely pissed about YouTube.
Yeah, that's fair. To be fair, I mean, don't get me wrong. Those companies do take it overboard. You know, like music. You know, I won't even get into the argument about copyright and the use of copyrighted music, because it is ridiculous. Like for instance, I've made like cover songs which have been copyright claimed, and they won't remove the copyright claim on my video even though it's a cover song. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well,
cover songs are thin ice. I have a friend that studied music, and cover songs are weird. But there are some things where it's basically transformative content.
But it's a cover. Like, okay, let's look at it logically. Yeah, if you're saying this song is mine, and it's clearly a copyrighted song and it's not yours, then, well, first of all, everyone's going to be like, what the fuck? And secondly, you know, that would just be stupid. And like, for instance, I've uploaded a Frank Sinatra cover today, right? Just as a random thing. And it obviously got copyrighted straight away, and I made the case and I disputed it and everything. And, you know, in my mind I was thinking, well, you know, if they don't remove the claim, then it is kind of ridiculous, because it has my voice, you know. I have obviously taken the instrumental of the original track and everything, but, you know, it's my voice. It is clearly a cover. I've obviously put the name of the song and the artist in the title, and then said cover. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cover of this musician's song. And more to the point, there are tons, like probably millions upon millions of cover songs out there. In addition, that have been around for many, 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 many years, since the beginning of YouTube. So this whole copyright claiming
even
thing,
before, way before. I mean, Eminem used in Stan. He used the underlying track of some other.
Well, that's a bit different. That's sampling. Like, do you know what I mean? He would have had to have paid money to use that sample. And for instance, whenever that song gets played anywhere in the world, a bit of that money will go in royalties to Dido.
Yes, but exactly the same thing goes with cover songs.
I mean, it should do, yeah. It should be like a shared thing. I mean, that's the thing. If it was a case of like they wanted to share the copyright, the money made from it, that's fine. That would be fine with me. But the problem I have with it is that they claim the entire video.
Yeah, because they can.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous. It's a cover song.
Of course it's ridiculous. But YouTube just lets it slide.
Yeah, they do, and that's the problem. It's bullshit.
It's one of the things that I have, like, aggressive breakdowns most of the time. Like, there are so many things that really get me riled up in the latest times, which would be like the YouTube the YouTube cover system, the cancel culture, the banning of some Twitch streamers that is definitely not rightful or anything. Like, there's so many things. Every time I go onto Twitter, after 2 minutes, I'm fucking aggressive and have to close it again. It's insane. Like, the internet is so full of shit these days, and I really get depressed over it. I try to not look at it as much as possible, but there are just some things, especially in the YouTube and Twitch sphere, that I can't look away from, and there's just things that make me aggressive. Like the banning of Dr. Disrespect, for example, just a few
that's
weeks
interesting
ago. It's insane.
I reckon there's a lawsuit going on. That must be the only logical thing. Yeah, because it's so weird. He was really weird towards the end of his stream, and then, you know, he's only made a small little statement just saying like, yeah, I'm fine and everything. But he
uploaded a video just a week ago.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, but it's just a song. He's just singing, "Oh, I will be back. Thanks for the support," something like that. But in a better way than I did. And uploaded that. It's like a minute long, and he's just singing something, and that's apparently a cliffhanger on that. He's gonna be back, and then he's okay, but not on Twitch.
Yeah,
he will never work again with Twitch again.
Damn, what did he do?
I don't know. The most interesting theory is that Twitch didn't want to pay him his how was it called? If a streamer can only stream at one platform, exclusivity deal. Yeah.
Well, that's ridiculous. If they've signed a contract,
they made an exclusivity deal with him, and then Mixer closed. So probably Twitch was like, "Yeah, guys, we don't want to pay the doc anymore. We want our money back," and then they just banned him.
Oh, I tell you what, if they did that, like if they genuinely did that, he would easily win that court case.
Not really, because
if they signed a contract and then they just like suddenly just ban him for no reason.
I did watch a video of an attorney who looked at that case, and he said that in the AGB, how do you call it? The terms of service, the terms of service of Twitch, they withhold the right to just ban you for whatever they see fit. So that would be a valid thing to do. If they would get out of the exclusivity deal, though, that's another thing. But they can just ban you without you even having done anything wrong.
That's interesting.
So if they didn't just like you, because in the TOS there's something that literally says we can ban you for everything that we see fit.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that. So they would just need to say, oh yeah, you were in the bathroom once, we'll ban you off our site forever. Something like that, you know?
I can believe they would be that petty. Like, Twitch is such a... I mean, none of these companies are great, particularly, do you know what I mean, in terms of their management. But
Twitch was really great, but
yeah, so I hear,
advertisers mostly always ruin everythem.
Yeah. That's very true.
Most of the time, it's exactly that. Like, I hate the advertisers because of them. The YouTube apocalypse happened. Twitch banned a lot of people. Just a lot of things happened. Twitch, I don't know, 4 to 3 years ago, Twitch was insanely lenient on everything. Like, people did so much stupid stuff and didn't get banned for a lot of things. And now you get banned for almost everything.
Yeah, that's 100% because of the advertisers. I mean, it's exactly the same with YouTube. I've heard so many big YouTubers like a H3 talking about that. Like, I remember them saying like how it would be impossible for Leafy to exist in the current culture. And okay, he's returned.
Leafy, it has returned. Yes,
he has. But there's been a lot of talks about him, potentially getting banned on YouTube. And I think he's kind of revising his style and everything. But like, put it like this: if he came back doing exactly what he did in 2016, no chance. Just
the most interesting thing is, most people don't know that, but he never was gone.
He was.
Which is the most interesting.
He stopped uploading.
Right.
He didn't leave the site in the sense that like he closed his account, but he just stopped uploading. He wasn't banned or anything. Yeah,
that wasn't because that had a reason. Like, YouTube tried something out on him. They didn't like him, but they didn't want to ban him because they couldn't. So they tried this thing called like shadow banning, where he where no viewer of him got notified over new videos, and that is basically why he stopped in the end. Like, YouTube killed him.
That's interesting. Because I thought it was a combination of the content cop that he received from iDubbbz, and also just constant shit from YouTube in terms of like making it difficult for him to continuously upload and stuff.
That's basically it, because YouTube just didn't promote him anymore, and you couldn't find him anymore either. Like, if you Google, if you searched on YouTube at that time, Leafy is here, you would have a really hard time to find him.
Oh,
and you wouldn't get recommended or anything. Like,
so even if you would just go into YouTube and just type in his name, you couldn't find him.
Yes, exactly. As far as I understand, there's a whole video about that YouTube, and that would later develop into the adpocalypse. Like,
I didn't know that. That's actually quite fascinating.
Leafy was basically the first demonetized person, but he wasn't demonetized necessarily. He was just not promoted anymore.
Yeah,
he basically got a shadow ban, if you want it like that.
That's really underhanded by them. I've heard a lot of shit by YouTube, but I'd never heard that before. That's kind of crazy.
He was just a how do you call it?
Scapegoat.
Scapegoat. Yeah, exactly. He was a scapegoat for the whole system, for the whole adpocalypse system. Very interesting. But a way better example would be Filthy Frank. Filthy Frank left the site at the best time he could have ever chosen to do.
I feel like for him though, that he always had that plan of museum to music though, like transitioning into that. Like, he just built up this fantastic internet career and then just transitioned into the thing that he was passionate about and kind of left behind. He just grew up, didn't he? Changed as we all do.
Kudos to him.
Absolutely,
honestly. Because he left his edgy humor behind just at the right time, and he has done a really good switch. I am still sad about it, because I loved the humor, and I still love the humor that Filthy Frank had back in the day. I am one for that dark, weird humor.
Yeah.
I love that kind of thing, and I'm really sad that YouTube doesn't allow that anymore. Like, there are no channels like Filthy Frank.
In fairness, though, a lot of those channels went so crazy with, like, okay, I've been watching a lot of videos lately that are about, like, fallen YouTubers and stuff, and like some of the shit that they got away with, even people like, Ray William Johnson, for instance, some of the stuff he said back in the day, like, it was because it was the early 2000s, early 2010s, like, it was different types of humor, different mindsets, things slip through the cracks. But, like, you just could never say that now. You would just get crucified.
I think that, and that, again, I already mentioned that I hate the cancel culture. I think everyone should be able to say what they want. Like, as soon as... there are some barriers, obviously, but I think most of the time, people these days just think they are too privileged. So... As soon as someone does something that someone doesn't like, they have the ability to cancel them, even though multiple people like the things that the humor, for example.
But does cancel culture even really work, though? Do you know what I mean? Because, like, I think it really depends on what you do. Well, no, but, like, if it's like, okay, you said a bad thing, like, let's say 5 or 10 years ago, and it was stupid, and you grew up and you learned from it, right? And you apologize for it and stuff. If people choose to not support you after that, I mean, that's them. But then, they're just being immature for, like, not giving you a chance, and like, not accepting that people make mistakes and stuff. But it depends on the severity of your mistake. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, like, for example, here's a really good example, yeah? When Hulk Hogan said the N-word back in, I think it was about 2007, 2008, and it was dug up and resurfaced in 2015. The context of it was that he was on drugs, he was angry about his daughter dating a black man, and he was kind of retaliating about it.
That's racism at the start already.
Well, okay, the thing about Hulk Hogan, right, is that many of his best friends, close work colleagues are black men, and they always have been, right? And it's just, how it is. And there was nothing about him that gave off a racist vibe. Because you can normally tell, if someone says, like, a racist term, and you look at them and you look at everything they've ever done and said, you can kind of tell if they're a racist. Because it's more about their attitude and everything like that, rather than what they actually say, right?
But even if they are, let's be real. Like, people these days are too much of pussies, in my opinion. Like, they really are. Everyone gets so how do you call it? Like, everyone, there's a specific word for it, like triggered. Everyone gets so triggered about everything. Back in the day, when someone said something,
but people should be triggered about things like racism, though. They should be, because that's something that's unacceptable. What I'm trying to get to is the fact that, like,
at a certain point,
it depends on like whether or not you forgive that person is down to whether or not they actually are a racist. Like, with Hulk Hogan, in the context of what he did, it kind of caused this divide in the locker room. Like, when he eventually did return and he was kind of given a second chance and welcomed back to the company, a certain portion of the locker room were like, yeah, we forgive him, you made a mistake, you owned up to it, blah, blah, blah. And the other half still to this day haven't forgiven him. And any live show that they play now, if he turns up, he gets booed out of the building, right?
It's insane.
Right.
I never understood that. You do one single mistake and you lose your career forever.
That's what I think is the problem. Because, like,
it is insane. You lose your livelihood.
But it does come down to the mistake at hand. Do you know what I mean? But there are certain things that are unforgivable. Like, okay, let's look at all the people that are being exposed for, like, sexual misdemeanors and stuff, right? Now, the reality of that is that, they often will commit it again. Like, it wasn't like a one-off or something. Do you know what I mean? And with those cases, I think cancel culture is kind of agreeable. Do you know what I mean? But it's with the people that like said some stupid stuff one time, and like, I guess you can look at like the way they apologize and such. But like, I think it's one of those things that I think it's like, I don't know I don't know why means test comes to my mind, but like it should be revised. Everything should be revised before you outright like push a guy to a side or a girl to a side and say, hey, you know, that's it, we never support you again. Like, you know,
yeah, but
I think
people
that's
don't
a bit
care.
of...
People just want this feeling of being on top of someone.
Right, yeah.
I think that's what it comes from. Someone says, oh, he said the N-word. He never did anything racist before, but people will just pile up on him and say, oh yeah, we cancel him now. We love this. Oh yeah, this is so cool. We got to rush out of this. And then
well, yeah, that's obviously
goes
ugly.
at him, and no one stands up for him, because if you stand up for him, then you're dead as well. It's like pitchforks, torches and pitchforks. That's what it is. And that's what I hate, because it's self-justice in a way. It's self-justice in a way. And in most countries, self-justice is not allowed, especially in Germany. Like, before you do something yourself, report it to the officials and they will do something about it. I mean, if someone does something very stupid on Twitch, I don't think it is the decision of the people to outright get him banned, but the decision of Twitch to ban him or not.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
If they don't ban him and if they keep him on the site, it wasn't so severe that anyone else would be the judge of all things.
I suppose the problem with that as well is like you said, they can kind of ban someone for whatever they wish, whenever they wish. They can just suddenly change their mind and be like, "Nah, we don't like people doing that now, so you're banned."
and I think that's totally reasonable, because in the end,
is it though? To just randomly ban someone on the spot because you just picked a rule and decided to change it?
If someone is in your house and you all of a sudden change your mind about him being in your house, you can just throw him out, right? And
yeah, but they would have had to have done something that's like really unacceptable. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I could also just say, I want to sleep now, go out, or something like that. I mean, you always have the right of the house. And I think,
I guess
really
that's a fair point.
Internet sites are similar to that. If Twitch just doesn't want to have someone on their site, well, then they can just ban him.
Long, you know, no longer part of the club anymore, kid.
Something like that, yeah. I really think each internet site provider has a total. It's reasonable that he can just kick off whoever they want. I mean, I don't really care. And so many people get so triggered about YouTube banning certain people or Twitch banning certain people. I certainly think it is sad that they ban Dr. Disrespect, but hey, they have the right to. I'm not going to say that Twitch is shit. Well, they are.
Be careful what you say, bud. They might be listening.
But I'm not gonna go to all my friends and say, "Oh yeah, now you should stop watching Twitch and go to YouTube because I say so, because I didn't like that they banned Dr. Disrespect." I think that's totally unreasonable. Everyone can make the choice for themselves to not watch someone or not support someone, but I think it is a very wrong thing to go to other people and influence them on what they like or what they don't like. Obviously, it's the choice for everyone themselves. Yeah, and in the end, if someone does sexual demeanors or something like that, hand it to the officials, hand it to the government, and they will do their part. And maybe Twitch will ban them as well. So, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Just maybe closing it on Twitch. Have you made affiliate yet? I don't know if...
So long ago.
Oh, okay. Congrats.
I think I'm affiliate for like 2 or 3 years now. It's insane.
Congrats.
It does literally nothing for you other than obviously make a little bit of money, but at the point of which you get affiliate, you have so few people that you're not going to make money anyways.
Okay.
It's that easy. So yeah, you get affiliates, people can subscribe to you, you can upload emotes, but a lot doesn't change.
It's funny, I've been trying to get affiliate since March, and I've got every other requirement. I just can't get the average viewer count.
Same here. It was the same for me.
It took you 2 or 3 years?
It took me 3 months or something until I finally had the third one, like the average viewers, which is only 3 viewers. It's not that hard. You can open tabs and get your mother and father to watch.
It's so frustrating. Like every time I do a stream, like, oh come on guys, I can't just get like 3 people every time. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's at some point you just have to cross advertise platforms like YouTube, get people to your Twitch and get people to your Instagram, and on Twitch the same to your YouTube and everything, and grow all of these things together, which is the thing I'm doing, why I am on YouTube again now. So yeah, it's very weird. Like, growing on the internet is hard, but it is also not hard. If you just have very good quality, people are gonna trickle in anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's just people are literally on the search for the best content, and they're gonna find it. And if you're the best content, you're gonna be. It's a hierarchy of how does Jordan Peterson always call it? It's not a hierarchy of dominance, but it's a hierarchy of competence. But at some point, the hierarchy just stays the same. So I already touched on that. Some streamers have been very good, and then really went bad, in my opinion, but they won't lose their viewership because that's just the nature of Twitch, where people just keep their viewers whatever they do. Like, some streamers would do very interesting creative content, and when they had the viewers, they would just watch YouTube videos all day. Which is interesting, but if it works, it works. That's always what I'm thinking. If something works, it is good, in my opinion.
I suppose you're right.
It's the same with money. If you make money doing something, you're doing a good job, whatever you do. Like, not necessarily a moral good job, but a good job in what you do. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, what if you're like an assassin?
Yeah, I mean, you're a good assassin at that point. Like, you're not morally right, even though moral, again, is something that shifts all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
Because in the Middle Ages, assassins were probably not even that bad, but
just like
days,
as highly, it's like, becoming an assassin is equally as respectable as being the local blacksmith. I mean, have you thought about a career in assassins?
Yeah, something like that, right? Which is, again, why I have such a big problem with these people that try to pressure morals so much on you. Like, I am much rather the person I am than following every moral concept there is, because morals change every 10 years anyways.
That is a very good point, because I think there are some eternal kind of rights and wrongs that we all know and we're all aware of and we all need to follow, just, because it's more of a kind of a deep kind of, you just know right from wrong, you can feel it. But you're right, there are these kind of things beyond that that just change every couple, like, taking YouTube content as an example. What was acceptable 10-15 years ago is no longer acceptable now, and
exactly.
Times change, people change, I get it, but it's like some of it is just kind of too extreme, to the extent that it's like, okay, we get that, like, we're trying to be less offensive now, but like there is a kind of limit where it's like, okay, now you're just being ridiculous. It's like,
I think you need to be offensive to like make a point at some point or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like stand-up comedy, is a good example. It's like,
I hate when comedians get cancelled for things they say, when it's obviously humor. I hate that so much, because I think comedy needs, and especially as a German, I mean, we invented the word Schadenfreude, which is now being used by English speakers. Yeah. That is what we do. We love when other people get hurt. It's not that we don't help them if they do, but in Germany we say a good friend is someone who laughs at you if you fall, but then helps you up.
Of course, yeah.
And I really think that. I think yes, of course there are barriers everywhere, but if you're in the humor and everyone knows that you're not being serious about something you say, I think there should not be as many. In my opinion, humor does not have boundaries.
Do you know, on this topic as well, it really freaked me out, because about 6 years ago, I left home to, I moved, or 6 or 7 years ago, I think it was, when I was 21. I'm 27 now. So I moved out of home, went to university, and for 3 or 4 years I was buried in that. So I saw a bit of TV here and there, but ultimately didn't watch it. And then I moved to Estonia for 3 years, so I was actively away from the UK. And when I came back recently, I remember watching like some chat shows that I used to watch back in the day. right? I think they're called like Mock the Week, Would I Lie to You, this kind of stuff, right? And the first thing that I noticed straight away that shocked me was I was just sitting there watching it, and I was like, this is bad humor. And it's not even because these aren't good comedians, because a lot of them I knew, I've heard them before. It was the fact that, like, you just know that they weren't able to say more offensive, more shocking humor.
Yes.
They're not allowed to, so then they have to resort to this crap humor. Like, one of them made a joke about like comparing, they should change Dancing on Ice to Dancing on Spice, and like they're all dancing on spices, and I was like, this isn't funny.
What? That's just bad humor.
Yeah, but it was like everyone's like, ha 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 ha. And I'm like,
yeah, but those TV shows are always not a real point. Like,
yeah, I know, but
get
still,
told to clap.
I know,
like
I've been there, I've seen them filmed and stuff, but like yes, everyone on the panel is kind of like almost like agreeing and going along with it, and I'm like, this is this shit. What happened?
Yes, and I'm the one laughing over jokes about dead babies, right?
Oh, Jesus!
Which is apparently these days also. Or, I mean, it is morally
it's
wrong
taboo.
to laugh about
taboo.
Dead babies, right? But I think many people have different humors, and
I know what you mean. There is this defining factor between a joke and reality. Like, I like dark humor, I always have, but I'm very quiet about it. I do share memes and stuff that are kind of dark from time to time, but ultimately I kind of keep it to myself. Because it's tricky these days. People take things badly. Like they don't understand jokes from reality, and that's a really dangerous line that we have in society right now.
Yes, and I think that as well. Because people can't keep to themselves anymore. That we got because of social media. Twitter.
That's true,
right? As soon as you see something that you don't like, you go to tweet about it. Yeah. It's insane, and that is also why people have this. Oh my god! That's why people have this innate feeling of having privilege.
It's like a compulsion, isn't it? It's like a compulsion. Like, I must say something. Exactly. The world needs to know why I'm so furious.
20 years ago, people saw something that was maybe not all that good, but they just I don't know. They just went on, moved on.
Yeah,
they didn't bat an eye, because why would you? No one listens to you anyways, right? These days, people have this compulsion.
No one gives a fuck what you think.
Exactly, and I think it is still. It should be still that way. I another hot take from me now. I think these days no one cares about you still, and it should be that way, because again, most good decisions are made on a majority basis. I don't care about. That's what democracy is as well.
I don't know, man. A lot of bad decisions are made on a majority basis as well, so I don't think you can really generalize that point either.
Yeah, but for most decisions, you can't take everyone into account, and that's what people try.
Well, it is an average, isn't it? I guess the overall majority.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. People just think that everyone can change the world these days, and I mean, some people can and have changed the world as individuals, but most of the time that doesn't work, and it just makes the life so much harder for other people, because everyone is different, and the thing that you might get triggered about, many people will not get triggered about. But since everyone's voice is so much amplified these days, you have the realistic chance to cancel someone if I don't know, 20% of people don't like what they saw, because the mob is so much more powerful, even if it is only 10% of people, than all the other people.
That's very true. Yeah.
Right. You have this big. How do you call it in English? Do you call it megaphone as well? Like the thing that demonstrators talk into?
Yeah, megaphone, speakerphone, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have, everyone has that these days, which then again is social media. Okay. And I think it's very sad, because it ruins lives, and that's what I see, right? And that's why I don't really like the cancel culture either, because you're ruining lives. I don't think those people think about that.
It makes me anxious, I must say. Like,
It makes everyone anxious.
I know that, like, I'm very safe. You know, I don't really, you know, I'm not racist, I'm not sexist, or any of these things. So I know for the most part I'm safe. But at the same time, all it takes is like a little thing, like you said, like one person just takes exception with something or twists something, and then they stop building it against you, and then before you know it, like you're dealing with an almost uncontrollable situation.
Yes,
and I just feel like
best example would be the PewDiePie bridge scene, right? He slipped. He said some bad word, and all of a sudden, for almost half a year, nobody wanted to watch him. Right?
See, that's an interesting one as well.
In a live stream.
There's a guy that was forgiven, and rightly so. But like, it intrigues me. Do you know what I mean? Because like that happened. What was it 2014, 2015, something like that? And I think it was. And yeah, it's not the first time that he'd done something offensive. He'd said some other offensive stuff as well. But
that's what happens.
Yeah, but it's like he was forgiven, and if anything, like he did even better after that.
Yeah,
it's really weird. It really intrigues me, like how it's kind of one person does well, another person doesn't. You know, it's really random and unequal and just all over the bloody shop.
Yeah, but what is equality? I always think like the big striving for equality these days is just a farce. It's so weird. You can never be equal. Like no one can be equal because we're all different. Like obviously, when you get to these things like equality of outcome.
I want to slightly disagree with you on that one. Okay. Now, I agree with like the notion of like we are all different, and so therefore, you know, you do have to take that into account. Like 100% agree with that. However, I do think we're all, you know, we should all have the same access to things and be treated the same way. You know,
100%.
You know, like for instance,
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, like opportunities. You know, like we still have, you know, a lot of sexism, a lot of racism from a kind of systematic perspective. You know, the systems, the institutions.
Not as bad as.
Well, I tend to call it institutional racism or institutional sexism or whatever. Like it's kind of in contained within the industries or the companies or whatever, and it's often kind of behind the scenes stuff that you only really see now and again, that people don't really mutter anymore, but it's there. And it's often the case when you see like like if you take the acting industry as an example, there's like more opportunities available to like white actors than, you know, say black actors. That's just a fact. And it's getting better, but it's not where it needs to be, and that is kind of what I'm sort of driving at in terms of like the whole equality thing. Like, the thing is, I don't think that you have to have like a certain number for it to be equal. You know, I don't believe in that whole quota thing. Like, oh, you have a certain amount, and then it's equal.
That would be equality of outcome.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it should be purely down to like opportunity and skill. Like acting should just be purely on skill. It shouldn't matter.
Opportunity, yes.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter like what race or sex someone is. The only time that should matter is if it's like integral to the story for some reason. You know, like I don't know, if it's a story about, you know,
about a guy, then yes.
Yeah, then you get a man. Yeah. But like, you know, I for instance, I see a lot of people get annoyed about things. Like, for instance, people got annoyed when Doctor Who was changed into a woman, right?
Yeah,
and I was
or Catwoman got blacked.
Yeah, and like with that, it doesn't matter. Like it's not important to the character. It doesn't change anything about the character. Like,
but they were always a certain way. Why?
It doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't change the nature of the character.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Well, okay, here's a good example. Yeah,
but it is
if they tried to make James Bond a woman tomorrow, right? Jane Bond.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, right? Because the character is and has always been a 40-year-old man,
right,
give or take,
exactly.
right? And it's integral to the story.
Make a completely new character.
Yeah, I agree. However, when you go back to those examples of things
forever,
if you go back to those examples of like Doctor Who and Catwoman, right?
Yeah,
there's kind of room for change there, because, you know, with the Doctor Who character, it's like the character always regenerates, so it's plausible that the character can be female or male. And with Catwoman, it's never been like specified necessarily. It's always been depicted that she's a white woman, but it's not like it doesn't have to be that she's a white woman. Do you know what I mean?
But
doesn't change the character.
I know what you mean, but I know why people might be disappointed. Because
I know that too. But I'm just saying
around those characters. If Batman or Spider-Man all of a sudden were a woman, I wouldn't feel as connected to it anymore, because I grew up around Spider-Man being a male individual. If all of a sudden he would be female, I would find that kind of weird. Why not make a Spider-Woman?
It can be weird, but like it's doable. Do you know what I mean? Like it's. I really think it does depend. I think it's one of those things that like it really depends on the character that you're talking about, and the story, and I think it depends on a lot of things, really. I think anything, for the most part, anything is possible. Like if you wanted to make a female Spider-Man, I think that's absolutely possible. But you'd have to change a lot for it to work. Whereas other characters like Doctor Who, less change is required, if no change at all, really.
Yes, but for example, I don't think there's going to be another Fast and the Furious film because Paul Walker died, for example. Why? I mean, they don't try to change that, and just imagine a Harry Potter that is not Daniel Radcliffe. Well, that probably even happened already, but
that's different. If you change the actor after so long, yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, but if you change it from male to female, you change the actor.
Well, that's different though. If they're reimagining a character,
Harry Potter being a female now, having a fucking gender change operation, that would be so weird. I mean,
it's doable though. I mean, it's reflective of society. Okay, this is my issue with it, right? I don't have a problem with things being done, but I don't like things being done for the sake of it. Like, here's a really good example, yeah? There was a lesbian kiss at the end of the final Star Wars film, right? Mm-hmm. Which, in of itself, yeah, that's fine, right? But it wasn't. The thing is, there was no context given to it. It was just thrown in, and they panned to it, and they made a big deal out of it, and then they panned away, and it was to sort of say like, yeah, we support this, we've thrown it in. And it's like, but why? Why not actually include that in the story, have it as part of the story, have it mean something, rather than just trying to make a statement? You know what I mean? Like, that just... Yeah. If anything, that pisses me off, because it's like, it's fine to support things. It's good. Right. It's positive.
But it's weird. It shouldn't piss you off, right? Because it's
no. But the thing that pisses me off, it's not that the lesbian kiss. I'm all for that. What pisses me off is that the studio is making the statement, right, rather than actually making it part of the story and normalizing it. By making it part of the story, they're normalizing it and therefore fully supporting it. If they just throw it in as a flash scene with no context, it's like they're not supporting it. They're trying to make a political statement, and I don't. I'm not with that.
I'm playing devil's advocate here because I don't think that.
But, but again, sure.
Why would a lesbian kiss be something ridiculous? Like why wouldn't it just be there? Like, right? Why do?
No. I agree. Why but that's not what I'm arguing. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm arguing that they've put that in there deliberately as a political statement, rather than actually supporting it properly and having it as part of the story and normalizing it in that sense. That's what I'm driving.
Because it doesn't make sense, and in films everything should make sense, right?
Well, it's just good. Like, I would have liked to have known, like, okay, how did that relationship happen? And what was the reasoning for it, and such. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, there's other examples where it kind of makes sense, and it's like makes sense with the characters and so on and so forth, right? Like, I'm all for like normalizing these things. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. For me, it's all about how you do things and how you introduce things. And I feel like in Hollywood right now, there's a lot of like, let's just put this in there to show that we support this, rather than like, let's normalize this and make this a thing that's like, okay, like Star Trek does it really well. They've had like plenty of relationships on screen that are like gay relationships or whatever, and it's fantastic. It's done really well. It's part of the story. You learn to love the characters. Blah 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 blah. They've nailed it. They've done exactly what they should do. That's kind of what I'm driving at. It's like there's a way to do it, and then there's a way not to do it. And I feel like a lot of the major film companies at the moment are doing it the wrong way. They're just like,
because they have to. Yes, it's that. I mean, it's good that it has like a counter movement type of deal, but I mean, in the end, as a movie company or something that sorts, you just trying to make money. So you just take everything you can to pander to as many people as possible.
Well, yeah, that I don't like. That the fact that they're trying to make money out of that.
But I can definitely understand it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the goal is to make money for movies, but like at the expense of people is pretty shitty, and expensive movements and stuff is really, really shitty. But,
I don't know. Again, I just have to say I couldn't care less, because something like that, I think in the end, when you do something bad, it will reflect on the revenue and everything you do. So
that's very true, actually. Yeah,
it's a thing that manages itself, in my opinion. I couldn't care less if they pander to anyone. I mean, it's weird, but it's not. I'm not going to be offended because of it, right?
Oh no, I mean, it doesn't offend me either. I wish they would have done it better. I wish they would have really made the effort and tried, and you know.
And I can understand that, definitely, 100%.
Anyway, that was quite the tangent. So, what tips would you give to someone that's starting out with Twitch streaming or YouTube or whatever? What are your like top tips?
Oh, I love that. Back in the day when I tried to find anything on that topic, you couldn't find anything, and it would have been so helpful. Like I have a lot of things, just probably not on the spot, but I'm just gonna start a bit. Like the first thing that is so important, and I see that so many times these days, is very, very much the money aspect. Many people get in for the money or the fame, and they have such high expectations, and then they get burned out, depressed, they kill themselves, some things like that, right? It happened. Like, it is such a hard business, and I really mean that. So many people, right? When a streamer says, "Oh yeah, I'm at work," so many people say W omega lil RK, right? Omega lil as this laughing emoji, because they just say, "Oh yeah, work, of course," like in parentheses, please.
Oh no, it is work. It's grueling. Yes. It's
so many people don't understand that, because it seems like the dream for so many people. But yes, obviously it seems like the dream because you're doing something that you really, really like, but that doesn't mean that it's not work, and that it doesn't cost a lot of effort, right?
You know, even what we're doing now, us talking, like a lot of energy goes into that. And like I have to be in the right mindset. I can't just do this. I can't just talk. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain way that you do it. You have to prepare for it. You have to have your research. You have to. There's a lot of things that go into this. You know, I totally agree with you on this. Like Twitch streaming is not easy. I mean, you know, you've got to have that energy. You've got to sustain it for a long period of time. You know, people come in there expecting a certain level of enthusiasm every time. Like, you can't show up and just be in a bad mood or not have the energy. That's unacceptable. You can't.
Right. Well, depending on how you do it and what your persona is, right? I have seen huge Twitch streamers that have this kind of little bit of sad persona, and it works for some people, but most of the time it doesn't. But yes, like I already touched on, you can't just push the start streaming button and think that everything is going to fall into place eventually. It's not. You got to put in a lot of effort and a lot of thinking and creativity to make your Twitch stream stand out amongst all the others, and make your Twitch stream something that people want to be in and have fun in. And I really want to do that for people. I had the time, like I already said, where I thought quantity is everything, and I streamed 40 hours a week. Sometimes even more. Well, way more. I streamed 8 hours every day, while going to university and trying to sleep as well. So I didn't stream. I think at the end of that, I did that for half a year, and I still only had like 7 average viewers at the end. And that kind of shit destroys you. It does. Many people think that doesn't touches you because obviously, yeah, you do your shit and you do it anyways. Like, there's a big distinction. I'm a gamer and I can play games for 12 hours a day. But if I stream during that, I cannot get over 6 hours or 8 hours. It is people don't realize that, but talking the whole time, trying to be funny and interesting drains you so much more than just sitting there and playing a game. And many Twitch streamers do that. They just sit there and play a game, but obviously that never gets you anywhere because you need to be entertaining, and otherwise people just take the next one because there's so much competition on this site.
That's why I think it's better to do shorter streams, just generally.
Yeah.
Just be really engaged for like an hour or two, and then
Exactly. For example, if you really want to put in a lot of work into your Twitch stream, you should still only stream 3 to 4 hours, but you can use those other 4 hours to make overlays for your stream, to promote your stream, to make a YouTube channel for your stream, and stuff like that. You should always only stream as long as you can provide quality content, because as soon as you don't, people will remember you that way.
That's a really excellent point.
Like,
I must say.
Exactly. Because if you see that someone goes live and the stream yesterday was shitty, you're not going to click on that guy immediately when you see him. But if the stream yesterday was really good and you still remember it and you want more, you're going to instantly click on that and want more.
God damn.
So, yeah, if you stream for 8 hours but the last 4 hours are shit, people are going to remember that.
You're inspiring me here, man. God damn.
Yes, and that is why Ludwig, for example, or Mizkiv have such a big following and have grown so fast, because Ludwig always has a plan for what he's doing. He starts his stream with doing music and saying, "Okay, boys, the plan is simple. Today we're going to do this and that and this, and then we're going to end the stream with this." And then he pulls that through and has such high energy and such good quality all the time. And then he makes 2 videos out of each stream, uploads them on his YouTube channel, which has millions of views. And he only started, I think, 1.5 years ago.
Damn.
Whereas I started, I don't know, 5 years ago and still only have 3 viewers. Mostly, though, also because I always had big breaks in between. Like, especially in the last 2 years, I think I only streamed for a year or 9 months because I always had problems with internet. I always had problems with like moving to different places, finding new internet providers, finding the time to stream, and all of that. Like, I should have went to YouTube way more, because even if you have shitty internet, you can still upload YouTube videos and make good content. Whereas if you don't have internet, you can just not stream.
Well, there's some great tips there, man. Thank you.
It's not all. Like, there's just so much.
Well,
only the first that's literally only the first tip of don't take yourself too serious. Don't take it too serious. Don't have any expectations on what you do. It should always be, you shouldn't go into this thinking, oh, I'm gonna make so much money. I'm gonna have so many viewers and I'm gonna be famous and everything, because you're not. The only people, I mean, I think only 200 streamers on Twitch have more than 1,000 subscribers. And if you really think, I think,
hey man,
to be a Twitch
sorry to pause you there. I lost you there for a bit.
Okay.
So I paused the recording and I've restarted again. So we're recording again now. Do you want to just recap what you were saying there? Sorry, it cut out.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like, you still heard that only 200 subscribers, 200 streamers have more than 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, heard that.
Okay, and after that, I basically talked about the money thing. That if you have 1,000 subscribers, you're making $2,500 a month, which after taxes equates to something like 1,600 or something. And I think you really need that to live, especially because you have a very unstable job. That's the biggest point, because the biggest problem is that in the end, you can probably only stream for 5 to 10 years efficiently and well, and after that people will stop watching you. Oh my god, wait a second, I've got so many notifications on Discord right now. I need to mute something here. Oh my god, mute the server for 8 hours.
God
Great.
damn.
Okay. I think it is only really viable to be a Twitch streamer if you make above $4,000 a month. and many people ask the questions why certain people make so much money. I think it is risk and reward. You always get more money for more risk. And if you are doing things like entertaining, if you're working in the music business or something, I think it is justified that you make a lot of money, because you can't do that forever.
Yeah,
right? Or like football players. Yes. Football players need to retire when they're 30 at least, like max.
Yeah.
So they make a lot of money to support themselves over this their lifespan where they cannot be football players anymore. Mm. And I think Twitch streamers have sort of the same thing. I don't think that any Twitch streamer could get like older than 40 and still be watched by a lot of people, because a lot of young people are watching, and they need like this 20 to 30-year-old streamer who is still funny and is in with the jokes that the young generation has.
Yeah.
And that is why I think you should only think that it's I mean, you can probably live off of, I don't know, 400 subscribers, right? You can live a bare minimum life. But just imagine not having those 500 subscribers 5 years later. What are you going to do then, right? So, yeah, for me, I think streaming is only fun, and it transforms into some sort of work where you can quit your job when you're making a shit ton of money, because it's very unstable and something like that. Yeah, and self-employment is always that way.
So
that's like another tip.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing those, man. Those are really great tips. Switching it up, tell us something about yourself that not many people know.
That's a good question. I rarely keep any secrets. I make so much of my life public.
He's an open book.
So to speak, yeah. So to say, I rarely keep any secrets off of people, because I think it doesn't matter, right? Because people can know so much about me, and obviously, yes, you can maybe use some things against me as well, but in the end, I'm only going to live 80 years on this planet, so why do I care what people know about me? In the end, it doesn't matter.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are so careful of what people know of them, and it is understandable in these times with all the canceling going on and stuff like that, and really mistakes of you blowing up, and people always have this sort of high expectancies on Twitch streamers to be a better person than they are, because in the end, every person has a dark side and a shitty side to them. But as soon as a streamer shows his shitty side, oh, we gotta cancel him. We gotta stomp him into the ground. People just have high expectancies on these people, but in the end, a streamer is just a human like anyone else.
There are levels to this, though, dude. Like, I get where you're coming from, but like, you know, like for instance, a lot of people, again, I'm bringing up what I said before, a lot of people have been exposed on Twitch, on YouTube, for things like pedophilia and like sexual assault.
Dude, that's not okay. That's not okay for most people.
Right, yeah. And stuff like that, I mean, people should get cancelled for. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the majority of people getting cancelled. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it's just, as you said, people having a bit of a dark side, maybe just being a bit of an arsehole sometimes. I mean, you can't really like cancel people for that. You know, you can try, but like everyone's got a bit of an arsehole side to them, like you were saying. Like, yes. I don't know. I think there's levels to that one.
Of course, yeah. I'm just saying streamers get hold to a higher standard than most people, or people of the open live get hold to more standards than most people do. We always expect them to always be right and always do the right things, but it's just human to make mistakes and not always do the right things. And I think that should be the way, right? Because out of mistakes, a lot of great things can happen. And in my opinion, you have to make mistakes to learn in your life. And that's why I'm a total different guy when it comes to that, because I think mistakes have to be made.
Yeah, I agree.
Everywhere. And it just gets weirder and weirder these days that you cannot make mistakes anymore because there are just too big of a repercussions.
What's the old saying? Mistakes maketh the man.
Yeah, that works. But yes, I think I always were an open book, and I think many people become open books now because it is just so hard to keep secrets these days, and it will become harder and harder and harder to the point where we just have to lay off our. Why don't we tell all our secrets? Shame? Yeah, where we just have to lay off our shame because everyone has these weird quirks, these weird sides to them, and we're so ashamed of a lot of things. And I think we are all already not as ashamed as we were, let's say, in the Middle Ages or like in the 1800s, 1900s. We're moving in that direction where people get rid of shame, so to speak. And I'm just not ashamed of it. And that's why I talk about many things very openly because I couldn't care less what people know about me. And in the end, as a streamer, it is a very big plus to have people bond to you.
Right.
The more you tell people about yourself, the more people will eventually probably like you or onto you, and which is again a very good thing if you're a person of the open how do you call it, life.
I agree. I'm the same. I think it makes you more trustworthy. It shows that you're human, and you know what I mean, as opposed to being this because no one's squeaky clean, no one's perfect. You know what I mean? Everyone makes mistakes, everyone fucks up. Like as you said, that's part of human life. You make mistakes and you learn from them and you grow. And I think to hide things from the outer world, I mean, it does depend. Everyone's entitled to their private life, but
of course,
it's just if you don't ever share anything, it's a bit like, oh, well, what's this person hiding? What's the deal?
Yeah, if you share nothing, most of the time in those, I also watch a lot of bachelor YouTube videos.
Oh, Jesus.
where people talk about women and stuff. I also watch a lot of videos. Not that I like those kind of videos, but I watch a lot of Red Pill and MGTOW videos in later times because I find that very interesting.
Okay.
How men deviate or how men distance themselves from women these days. I think that's ridiculous, but I think everyone could do that. And I kind of want to know what goes on in these people's heads. So I watch MGTOW videos, Red Pill videos, where men who are bachelors forever talk about women and what they do wrong. I think I just
sounds more like incels,
kind of funny. Yeah.
Angry incels.
There's a fine line. There are very interesting people that are definitely not incels in the MGTOW community, just because they think that women have always been very untrustworthy and very and I could agree with some of those things. It is just basic nature for a woman to, for example, want to have kids with a man to bind them to themselves and stuff like that. And but I learned to live with those things. I think every human has those things. But yeah, where was I coming from again? I was talking about MGTOW. Why was I talking about MGTOW? That's very weird. How did I get to that? I don't even remember.
I mean, you were mostly just saying that these guys, you're interested in their videos and they're kind of
Yeah, but I was just wondering. I lost my thought there. Because I got there because of something. I don't just talk about.
Yeah, sorry, I'm really just invested in you talking about these bachelors now. I was kind of drawn in by that. I was like, this sounds fascinating.
It's an interesting community. It's like men. MGTOW basically just means men go their own way, and they talk about how they got rejected or how their trust got broken by women, right? Because maybe a woman cheated on them or something. They don't necessarily have to be incels, because incels are people who never had a woman, and that's why they don't like women, right?
Not necessarily. It can also just be people that are. Because it literally translates as involuntary celibate, so not having that interaction for a certain indeterminate period of time. Technically, for instance, right now I'm single and have been for a while, so technically I am an incel by that logic.
Yeah, but not. someone. Yeah, but incel culture is still something else. But yeah, the MGTOW community differs from the incel community. I couldn't talk too much about it because I don't know that much.
Right.
I don't know if my facts are right here, but
okay.
As far as I know, the incel community is just filled with a lot of hate. While
that's what I saw. I remember doing a video about incels, sort of like tongue in cheek. You know, it wasn't really meant to offend. It was just kind of like looking at definitions online and just kind of reading stuff and being, you know, pointing stuff out that was a bit unacceptable or a bit silly. And I got a bunch of hate when I did that video. And it was interesting to me because it was like, you know, you try to debate these people and talk to them and understand them, and then they would just throw abuse your way. So it was impossible to have a debate with them.
Yes, exactly. And that's basically what this incel community is. And the MGTOW community is just more grown up in that case, right?
Interesting.
They just say, oh, I don't want to have to do anything with women because I just think that women are, not me, but like the MGTOW community, because they think that women are just devious or in nature or like a little.
But are they like aggressive towards women though? Because
they're not at all. They just say, oh, I don't want to have to do anything with women. They're like meninists, right? They're the different. Okay. MGTOW is basically the counter movement to feminism.
Oh
where women say, oh, we don't need you men. And men counteractively say, "Oh, we don't need you either."
Well, I don't know. I think that's a bit skewed though, because feminism isn't necessarily about that. There's different levels to feminism.
Yeah, but
I've met feminists over the years.
Modern feminism, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but again, it's levels. Like I met feminists at uni, and like I had a friend that was a feminist, and she kind of broke it all down for me. And she said, like, you know, I'm the type of feminist that's like, you know, all for, you know, this stuff, but then I think like there's this greater kind of group of people that are coming out that are kind of hijacking it, which is kind of more what you're referring to is this kind of new age feminism where it's like it's aggressive and it's like against men and stuff. Yeah, and like that doesn't really represent all of feminism, and it isn't actually what feminism is supposed to be. Like feminism at its heart is about creating equal opportunities for women in society, changing the perception that women have in society, you know, making it more equal rather than, you know, being about hating men. That's just immature. That's not what it's about at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. I understand that. I just think, well, yes, feminism should be about the same rights for men and women. They just take it a little bit far these days.
Yeah, but again, when you say they, like you're generalizing, it's a subsection. It's this new subsection. It's not all of them.
No, of course not. And I never want to talk about all of a certain, right? If I say something, but more of like the most present thing at the time. And but like emancipation is all I want as well. I think everyone is equal. In my opinion, like every person is made equal, but we're all different. And I think what is really weird these days is that we try to make everyone the same, whereas
that's the wrong thing to do, I think.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. That's what I think as well. There's a certain beauty in us, in everyone being different.
Absolutely.
And we could use that so well, right? Because everyone, like, there is a certain reason why there's more men that are plumbers or like bricklayers or something like that, because it just has to do with muscle energy and something, and many people want to say these days, oh, it's so how do you call racism when it comes to gender? What was that? Sexism. Yes, exactly. It's so sexist that more men are bricklayers than women, and it's not at all.
Yeah, that's where it's ridiculous, because it's like it's more about accessibility. If you just happen to see more men than women doing a particular task, that doesn't necessarily mean
they are just better at this.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's that they're better though, or that they're even.
I mean, I would say that
I think
bricklaying.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with you on that one. I think it's more a kind of a case of like a combination of like happenstance and accessibility. So like it might just be that it's just generally more popular with men, and it could also be because the issue is more like, well, if a woman wants to become a bricklayer, for instance, is she able to? without fear of like sexism, or without fear of not being given the opportunity. If the opportunity is there, it exists, and it literally is just down to happenstance, then we're in the right position where we need to be. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think men are better at bricklaying than women are, because it needs
controversial.
Well, it is. It is controversial, and I think that's very weird, because I don't come from a point of sexism. I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to see women bricklaying.
No, I know. I think
that there are certain things, like men have more muscle mass than women, and that's just a thing from nature.
There's women that have more muscle mass and can do it,
and I think they can be bricklayers if they want to, of course. But the general the general average woman is just a worse bricklayer than the general average man.
Yes, I disagree with you, man. I think you are kind of sort of assuming things and saying like, well, just because the woman has a little bit less muscle mass on average, maybe she can't do it. Like, how do you know? I've met some pretty tough women in my travels in Europe that they looked really skinny and like they couldn't do anything, but they sure as hell were strong as. Strength isn't necessarily about muscle mass, my friend. Like, don't be fooled.
and that's where
women can be as strong, or if not stronger than men in many cases.
I don't say that women shouldn't bricklay. I don't.
No. No one's saying that. I'm not saying that you're saying that.
I just want to get behind the fact why women are not as much bricklaying as much as men are, and I just think it comes down to things like that. Because why are more women like cleaning than men, like in cleaning jobs, right? Because I think women have from birth a more sense of tidiness and orderliness than men, because I saw way more men I saw way more boys having really dirty rooms than girls maybe had.
I just feel that this is generalizing, really. I don't really think there's any
and I don't think generalizing is necessarily bad, because I just don't go off of statistics. Statistics don't lie. But as many people these days say, facts don't care about feelings, right? But it's true.
It's true. But the thing is, like,
I most of the time, and I try to really not do these things from my perspective. I try to go off of statistics most of the time. But many people don't want to look at statistics because they think they are sexist or racist or something. And sometimes, and in my opinion, statistics are just statistics. They get looked. It's where scientists look at a big group of people, and if something comes out of that, it just comes out of that. It's that easy.
I think one thing you do have to take into consideration, though, is the changing times and stuff. Like the statistics will inevitably change over time, and just because a statistic on average has been a certain way for, say, 20, 30 years. I mean, well, in society has changed, the attitudes have changed, the opportunities have changed. So therefore, those stats might change, and then those kind of things that you're kind of referring to as being like, okay, well, women have a tendency more to this, and then because the thing is, you're basing all of your perceptions right there on those statistics, which I understand, right? But at the same time, when the society changes and then it kind of disproves those perceptions that you have, it's like do you know what I mean? It's gonna shift everything, and then like you're gonna be forced to like change your opinion.
Yes, of course, and I'm open to that. I'm open to that.
Well, there you go. That's awesome then. Yeah, I mean that's kind of
because I don't have a problem with shifting my opinions. That's the thing that
I see. I think a lot of people do. That's the problem. It's so stupid.
And that is why I stopped arguing with people, like talking or talking with a certain kind of people. Yeah. Because so many people go into arguments like they never want to change their opinion. I always go into an argument not to change the other person's opinion, but to change my own opinion.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean.
And so many people see it as a fight that you can win. And I just get so tired of it so quickly. I really learned to distinguish those people that do that and stop the argument immediately.
If I sense that
Right.
someone's just in it for just to argue, I just stop listening, to be honest. I just
Exactly.
can't be bothered
Yes.
with those people. Life's too short. Like, unless you know, are genuinely like trying to change people's opinions and teach people and stuff. I mean, very rarely is it that. Mostly it's just someone... Because that's the problem. When you get presented with facts, like irrefutable facts, often people... There's this thing, I think there's a particular name for it, isn't there? Where people get like so attached to it, and even if they're disproved, like they're proved wrong, they still cling on to that false like truth that they have.
Yes.
Like because it's
do
part of their belief. And it's like, yeah,
Yes.
but like...
It makes you as a person be that person.
Yeah, but you can't. It's like the fact is there. It's like how can you not look at the fact and be like, huh, I was wrong. Okay, time to change my my view on things.
Yes, and that is exactly why I stopped arguing with most people.
Yeah.
Like I was a big arguer. I would discuss every single thing with everyone, but at some point I just got so tired of those people that was so dead straight about their opinion and wouldn't listen to anything else. At some point you were discussing a certain topic with them, and they would just talk, and as soon as you would be talking, they fall into your word at every single thing you say and try to get it straight or something.
That's the problem.
Whereas you are just listening to what they are saying, and as soon as you try to talk to them, they're just trying to like get every fact of yours straight or something.
Yeah, they're not properly listening.
Yes,
a lot of people have this problem. Where, like, I remember there was a famous saying, which is quite accurate to what we're talking about. It's like, most people are never really listening and just waiting for their opportunity to speak. And it's like, and when they do speak, there's no substance. Like you said, like they just blast out these facts, and then you just, you refute them all, and then they just have nothing, and then you're just left to be like, yeah, well, it's like this, and this, and then they're just like, okay.
No.
All right, end of conversation. Yeah.
And then you're like, yes, I just told you that it is that way, and they're like, no, it's not. And it just gets so tiresome. And yeah, it's I don't know if you know Dr. K, like healthygamer.gg. It's a Twitch channel that blew up recently as well, and it's the psychiatrist who is on Twitch and tries to help gamers like on everything that a psychiatrist would help you, right?
Wow.
And the very interesting thing, I do follow this guy a lot, and the most interesting thing that he said is like how to win an argument, or not win an argument necessarily, but how to make someone like how to win an argument. You could say that is more to listen than to speak.
Yes,
and to ask the people how they got to a certain opinion, and like get on the same level, because most of the time people who discuss just walk into two different directions, right? They just say, oh yeah, I think this, and the other person says, I think this. Okay, yeah, we're never gonna get onto common ground. But
which is
the intelligent discusser is just gonna first of all go with you into the direction you want to go, and then just steer you lightly into the direction he wants to go, and that's so much easier. Like, first of all, search common ground, and then try to get the person to think what you believe.
I've noticed a lot of people get really too emotional, and many years ago, I had the same problem. You get invested, you get emotional, you have like a passionate thing, and then when someone disproves it, you get angry, and it's like, when I realized, I don't know when it was many years ago, but I kind of realized that like it's just foolish, and it's like there's not. I think a lot of the problem is that people take it personally when they're proved wrong. They take it as like. This kind of,
most people do.
Yeah, it's like part of an ego thing. It's like someone's destroyed their ego or something, and it's like it's fine to be wrong. It's good to be wrong. You learn something. You know what I mean?
I already said.
Sorry.
Like I already said, make mistakes to learn.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like that's what life is. It's a series of highs and lows, of understanding, of not understanding, of messing up, of, you know, that's the beauty of it. And like, I think more people just need to get out of their comfort zone. And, you know, like, it frustrates me when you meet these people. Like, often, if I know that someone is like that, I don't waste my breath. And I know it sounds harsh, and I know you could make the argument, well, you know, if you don't try to educate people, how will they ever learn? But like, it's up to people themselves to educate themselves. You know, you need to make that leap. You need to get to that point where you realize, like, okay, if I don't take shit like this personally, and if I can overcome my emotions and just look at the facts and look at, you know, what this person is trying to say to me. They're not trying to attack me. They're not, you know, even if they are an arse and the way that they communicate their message is shitty, like, you just got to look through that and just look at purely what they're saying and deconstruct that, like what that therapist does. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And it's just very important. You grow as a person as soon as you leave your comfort zone, and as soon as you admit fault. It's that easy. And if you're a person that can never admit fault at any circumstance, you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow. You're going to be an infant for the rest of your life.
I think a good way as well is like job interviews. You know, when they ask you like your weaknesses, you know, I think it's good to just write down what your weaknesses are. Be really honest and truthful with yourself. Because most people just write bullshit, don't they? Like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just too passionate or some shit like that.
That's what you get taught. Like that's what you get taught.
Yeah.
That you search for the weakness that you have that isn't really a weakness.
Nonsense. You gotta be real. You gotta be like, I often tend to say stuff like, you know, sometimes I can get a bit too passionate behind an idea and lose sight of when it is proven to be wrong, and you know, sometimes I have to just like take a step back. And I wrote this in a job application I made recently, and I said, like, you know, I always find myself, and I always, you know, make sure I don't, you know, mess things up and such. I put it in better words in the email, but
and that, I think that exactly is why you are still searching for a job for such a long time. But
because I don't get
offended because I say that, because in the end you're gonna find a job or a workplace that you really fit in.
Oh yeah. No.
Right? You can just lie at every question they ask you, but in the end it doesn't really.
No, that's pointless. No, yeah, that's stupid to do that. Like, I'm always 100% honest. And if they don't like that,
that's
then
the right way.
Yeah, then the, like you said, it's not the right fit. Yeah, that's why I don't take it. Like, I used to get like angry or offended if I didn't get a job, which is just so ludicrous. Whereas now it's like, it just isn't the right fit, you know.
But it's understandable. Because obviously it's again your livelihood, and you need a job to make money to support yourself.
Yeah. But like it comes down to this. Like, I remember hearing one time many years ago, I can't remember where I heard it, but it was basically like, you know, the decision is made 30 seconds into the interview whether or not you've actually got it or not. And I remember hearing that and thinking, really? But then I understood it after a while. It's to do with, like, you know, ultimately they're making you jump through hoops. But, you know, they know what they're looking for. It's a type of person. It doesn't matter what qualifications you have, experience. Like, yeah, okay, for certain jobs, yes, it does. Yeah, if you're going to be a doctor, then absolutely the qualifications matter. But like, you know, for your average job, it's about who you are. Do you fit their mold? Can they mold you, or are you already their type of person? And, you know, can they work with you? Can they have a drink with you? Can they do this, that, and the other? It doesn't fucking matter, like, what you say. You could be like, yeah, you know, I did this project, I worked this hard. And sometimes it's business as well. Like, I remember many years ago, I worked in a supermarket, and I had a friend who had worked previously in a phone shop, right? And he told me that, like, him and another manager were recruiting for another member of staff, just a sales assistant role.
Yeah.
And they had two people come in. One was a girl. I think she had enough experience, but she just, I don't know, she was lacking some stuff, wasn't as confident, something like that, right? And then they had a guy who came in who had all the experience, who just nailed it, was absolutely awesome, right? And they were looking to increase their footfall, which is just a fancy sales term for the amount of people that come in and out of the phone store. And obviously, because it's a sales job, it's based on commission. It's based on how many phones you sell, how many people you get through the door, all of these sort of metrics, right? So that shit's important. So they've got to look at ways to draw more people in.
Yes.
And he said, they did genuinely sit down and think about, who to pick. But in the end, they went for the girl. Now, many people will go, that's the wrong decision. They didn't pick the person that's best for the job. But this was his reasoning. And he said, look, I know it sounds bad, but from a business standpoint, this was the best decision. She was a good-looking young woman, right? And when you're going into a store, and let's say like you're a guy or something, or even a girl, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? You're more likely to be more attracted to coming in there, yes, because there's this girl there, right?
Of course.
And I know how silly it sounds because you're there to buy a phone and stuff, but it's kind of true. There is this like underlying psychological element that exists.
Of course.
And he said like, the footfall increased massively, and it was a really good business decision for them. And so like there's a lot of decisions like that are made when in the hiring process that are made purely for that business decision. So taking things personally is just ludicrous from that kind of perspective.
Yes, but that's exactly why most people get offended these days, because they think they know better. Right? But exactly what you said. Like most people would say, what a ludicrous decision. And then they would go on Twitter and say, "Oh, this girl got picked over the guy because da. And in the end, the footfall increased, and the guy made a decision, and it was a risky decision, but it paid out in the end. And whose business is it to judge him because of that? None's. It's only him. Like he takes the risk, he gets the reward, or not.
Yeah. Okay, so this has been my absolute longest podcast ever.
A long podcast, yes. I think the longest podcast that is on the internet.
Well, I do hope it wasn't.
So good. I could still talk so long.
I hope it's not too grueling for you, my friend.
Huh?
I hope it hasn't been like too grueling for you or whatever.
Of course not. Like I said, I could still talk for 2 more hours.
God damn, man. I wish I had your energy.
It was really good. It was really, really good. And I'd like to be here again.
I've got one more question for you.
Oh, yes, please. Okay, now we will get into 2 more hours. Great.
Do you have any kind of final thoughts you'd like to close with? Any upcoming projects? Any kind of maybe things that your viewers don't know about on Twitch or YouTube that you're, waiting to announce or you've got in the works? Like, here's your chance to kind of plug yourself or leave us with some insightful message or whatever you want. Like, this is your moment.
Great. Okay, I've got everything of that. Like, first of all, the plug, obviously, guys, Stealzy, right? STEALZY. You can find me on Twitch and on YouTube and on Instagram as well. But I mean, who cares about that? Yeah, the thing that I have in the works right now is basically just my YouTube channel. I need to grow that right now because my Twitch is working and I like my Twitch right now. So yeah, YouTube channel, really important. Go and subscribe to me there. That's the plug. The insightful message would be, guys, don't take everything so seriously. We talked a lot about all this Twitter bullshit and cancel culture and just live your life. Try to get the best out of your life, and if that has happened, then yes, you can care about other people. But in the end, everyone is nearest to themselves, and everyone should make the best out of their lives before they care too much about the lives of other people.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, make the best out of each day for yourself, and try to live a good life, which people can remember as well. Yeah, that's all I've got to say, I guess.
Well, thank you so much for that, and for appearing on the podcast, and just being a fantastic guest. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. You've been a fantastic host.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Dankeschön.
just a very good chemistry going on.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, if you want to have me again, like in half a year or something, I'm up to it.
Hey,
every
dude,
time.
You're always welcome on the podcast. I'm sure my viewers will want to hear more. And like, again, when you have like a new thing you need to plug, or you just want to shoot the breeze or whatever, absolutely, more than welcome.
Wonderful, great,
wunderbar. Now, Yeah, another great podcast. Thank you, everyone who has listened to this podcast or watched on YouTube. And I believe we're now, I think I said this in the last podcast, I don't know if I did, but we're also now available on Apple Podcasts and somewhere else, I think, I don't know, it's increasing. So wherever you are streaming this, watching, whatever the case may be, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. For people that want to appear on the show, as I said, it's an open platform. If you want to come here, chat with me, you don't necessarily have to showcase yourself, but I like to have that initial kind of interview and then kind of like go on to having you on again and stuff, because I want to introduce you first. Plug you, kind of big you up, But anyway, it's been an excellent podcast as always. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And until next time, I bid you adieu.